Hey everyone, so it is absolutely beautiful outside today. I think we're in like the high 50s and we are looking that way for the next few days, so it does feel like spring is finally here. However, as someone who has lived in Chicago or outside Chicago my entire life, I know that we can still get snow even in April, so you never really know what's going to happen. But what I wanted to do today is take you around my garden and show you all of the different container types that I use. Now, what kind of made me think about this is I feel like I am at the point in my garden where I don't need to buy any more containers. That doesn't mean I won't buy any more containers, but I feel like I have enough pots, enough beds, enough bags that I can plant everything that I want to, or at least everything that I can fit in my 18 by 19 square foot balcony. So I thought it would be fun and especially helpful to show you now because they aren't full of plants. You can actually really see the structure of some of these containers that you might not be able to by August. So let me take you around. I'll show you what I use. I'll talk a little bit about, where I got them, any other sort of details that I think might be helpful. That way, if you're looking for some different container options for your garden, hopefully you can get some ideas from mine. So let's go take a look. Let's start with what I consider to be the showstoppers of my garden, and that is the elevated beds. So I have 4 total elevated beds. All of them I got from the same brand, which is Grownomics. They have a website online that you can go and order the raised beds. Technically elevated beds, that might be a better term when you're searching for them, so that they are off the ground and actually have a bottom to keep the soil contained. But these elevated beds, this one over here was the very first one I got. So I got them all the same brand, different times, but this one I actually got from Home Depot. So Home Depot carries the Grownomics brand. That's how I was introduced to it. This one is shorter than all of the other ones, and I forget the exact height when it comes to dimensions, but I will list that down below. It is still really great. I think I would have preferred to have another taller one like this. However, it does have some benefit because I am on a rooftop and it does get windy. Having things a bit lower can be helpful so that they don't get blown over. But this bed here I got in 2019. The dimensions as far as the length and width, it is 24 across by 48 long. So a pretty good size, I'm sorry, this one is 18 across by 48 long. So it is the smallest and the shortest one of the raised beds, but I grew a bunch in it last garden season. So again, I've had this since 2019. It has spent 3 winters in Chicago outside, still holding up great. It has changed slightly in color, but other than that, I haven't really noticed any sort of change in terms of quality or usability of the bed. This one here and this one here, these are the 24 by 48 size. So just a few inches across wider than this one here. They are the exact same ones. I got them, I think, maybe like 6 months apart. And these are also a bit taller, which makes it easy when gardening. I don't have to squat down at all. And then this guy here, it's in the center because it is the largest raised bed. I can fit the most in it, and I like having kind of a large centerpiece in my garden. This one is 34 by 48, so it's 10 inches wider across than these two here. So that is a look at a bit of the raised beds. Now for each of the raised beds, I put these together all on my own, so if you are just one person, you can assemble these, and I think it took 10 minutes. Honestly, the hardest part was carrying the pieces upstairs, so I did have to take them up 2 flights of stairs. I basically unpacked them at the front, carried them up piece by piece, or as many pieces as I could carry, but other than that, setup was really easy. You can't see it in the bed, but it does come with a black liner. That way it contains the soil, but the liner is kind of like a mesh, so the water still drips through. And then there are wooden slats that you put on the bottom of the bed, and they're about maybe like an inch apart, so that's where the majority of the water drains through. So an inch between all of the boards at the bottom, mesh on top so that the dirt doesn't fall through those inch cracks. And other than that, I mean, the quality's been really good. They've held up really well. I mean, there's a few nicks and dings, but that's to be expected. I've had, like I mentioned, the first one for 3 years, and then one of them for 2 years, and then this one and one of the other ones in the back here I got last year. So they're all relatively new, but I think I'm gonna get, I mean, years and years out of them. So this, I would say, is my favorite container that I have. It's definitely changed the game for me the most in terms of what I can grow, just because they are so large, but they are the most expensive. So that's the kind of flip side of it. I think each of these runs somewhere between 200 probably for the smallest one, up to about 300. But if you buy from their website during the holidays, they usually have some sort of code or coupon code to get, I think I got like $50 off one of them. So you can definitely save money if you kind of time your buys at the right time. So that's everything about my raised beds. Now let me take you around and show you my grow bags. Over here are my grow bags, and this is not an extensive list of all the grow bags that I have. However, these 3 black ones right here are 30-gallon. These are the only 3 30-gallon bags that I have. They stay here because they are so heavy when they're filled with soil, I cannot move them. Same thing with the raised beds here. Those are pretty much stationary. But these I've used to grow tomatoes, anything that needs a lot more space than you might be able to get. But I can fit, like, well, one year I grew 2 tomatoes. I wouldn't necessarily recommend that, but they still did pretty well. I grew a lot of marigolds in these last year, and basically these were like somewhere between $5 to $10 per bag. No, it was definitely less than $10 per bag, because I had a pack, and I think the total pack was $15. I'll link it again below, but these are a very inexpensive way to have a very large container. In fact, I would say of all the containers, grow bags are going to be the most cost effective. So I have these 3 here. Let's see, this is from the brand Garden Forever. I found them on Amazon. I'll link these. And then I have kind of a varying array of different sizes for these grow bags, which are from Vivo Sun. So this one is 5 gallons. This is the smallest grow bag size that I have in the garden. That one here is 10 gallon. I also have 7 gallon grow bags as well. And I kind of just vary between what I'm gonna grow, what size I think will do well, and then plop it in the grow bags here. I do like to kind of curve down the edges of the grow bags just because I think it looks, I don't know, a little bit prettier in the garden. As far as color differences, so the black one here, I mean, you can see these have been outside since 2019 every winter, and they still look great. They're holding up. There really isn't any change to the color, whereas these, which are a very, very light beige, get very dirty very easily. This isn't something that bothers me, and I did want to add some kind of lighter grow bags instead of having everything so dark and heavy and kind of weighing the garden down. So it doesn't bother me that they get dirty, and when I empty them and throw them in the wash, if I ever need to do that, they clean up pretty easily. But if it is something that bothers you, I would recommend sticking with these darker colored grow bags. Next, for the containers that I have are window boxes. So you don't actually need to just put window boxes on windows. You can use them whenever you want to grow something kind of in a row instead of like a circular or square shaped pot. So what I had here, there's one there, and then there's another window box over there. These again were pretty inexpensive. I think I got a pack of 3. So there's one that I'm using inside for houseplants, a pack of 3 for definitely under $20. But here I have it so that I have a trellis stuck into the flower box. Last year I grew snap peas when it was cold, and then sweet peas, which I don't love how they turned out. They didn't really flower. So this year what I'm going to do is do morning glory here, growing up the trellises. So I am super excited for that. I think that's going to look really beautiful here. And then I basically have a random assortment of pots that I have collected throughout the years. There are some grow bags here as well. Again, if you saw my overwintering video, I just shoved all of these into the corner when my greenhouse got damaged, and I'm hoping that protected them from the cold weather. There are some buds forming on the hydrangeas, a little bit of green starting to poke through, but hopefully I'll see some more growth coming from these in the next few weeks. But I have large plastic pots. I tend to go, when I have larger pots, some material that's a bit cheaper, again, just because the larger the pot size, typically the more expensive you get. But I have plastic pots here. I have these gray ceramic pots that I took from my mom. I have a metal container here with strawberries, terracotta pots, more plastic, larger pots back there. So basically just a mishmash of pots, and then I kind of match the pot to whatever the plant needs. So those I will probably start moving back out away from the corner around the garden pretty soon here. There's my garbage can. And then over here, I have what I consider, let's exclude this one, to be my prettiest or my favorite pots. These I got from a local garden center. I just think they are really beautiful. So what I am planting in my favorite looking pots are perennials. So I have a blueberry plant in here with the assumption that if this is a pot that I really love, I'm going to put a plant in it that will hopefully be around for many years. I have another blueberry plant I ordered that is going to go in this one. And then my raspberry bush here, I just put in this black plastic pot that I've had for a while. I do wish it was in like something a bit more beautiful, but you know what? I think this pot I actually got for free, and free is my favorite price to pay for something. So those are my containers. Oh, and we have a little rogue nursery pot there as well. So I hope this has been helpful to see the different containers that I'm using in my garden. Really, you can make anything a container as long as it can hold soil, and you can put some drainage holes in it. It'll work perfectly fine. But these are just the options that I've kind of collected and used along the way. Kind of going over it, if you want something that, you know, is more beautiful, then definitely the elevated beds or some of the like terracotta ceramic pots. If you're looking for something that's more cost effective, things like grow bags or plastic pots. And over time, you'll just kind of find what you like and what you don't, and your collection will definitely grow. I think so I really started in 2019, but some of these pots are even older than that, just random pots that I would have like a couple things of flowers in, so your collection will grow. But I do feel like now I'm at a pretty good place and have the containers that I need in my garden. But again, every time I say that, I know I'm gonna go out and buy some more. If you have any questions about any of the containers that I'm using, anything that I can help you answer, let me know. Other than that, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video, hopefully when it's still this nice and beautiful outside.